You mentioned Burrow's finger. Let's hear from him on that finger that you could see puff up and swell, and he was favoring it and trying to fight through it. And it really didn't seem like it affected him per se. The question is, does it affect him going forward? Here he is talking about it.
And I dislocated it on that first series on the sack fumble. So it was just something I had to play through. That's what football is. You got to play through some injuries sometimes. It's just something I'm going to have to deal with. I'm not going to miss any games because of it. That's not something that's going to happen.
You know, Joe Burrow really is one of the tougher quarterbacks in the NFL, and it doesn't necessarily look it, and he doesn't sound like it, but yeah, he's going to line up and play, and he's going to do what needs to be done, and he's shown no fear whatsoever this year, even after the devastating knee injury as a rookie in Washington, and he's doing what he had to do. And I wondered what was going on because there was a point early where he's sitting next to that trash can and his hand was down in it, so I assume it's full of ice, not trash. But unless I don't know, unless he dropped something in there that he was trying to get out. But I wondered what was going on, and as the game went on, we saw that pinky just get thicker and more swollen. And and Drew Brees explained last night how important the pinky is, because he said the one finger that doesn't matter when you're a quarterback is the ring finger. That's just the one that's there for the ride. The pinky helps you establish your grip and complete your grip on the ball as you start the process of getting rid of it. So even though Ronnie Lott may have a different view on the relevance of the pinky, quarterbacks regard the pinky as incredibly important to what they do.
Listen, I look at it as a pitcher. When a pitcher gets even a blister on their finger, and you sit there and say, wait a minute, there's a pro athlete missing a game because of a blister? Well, yeah, if you're a pitcher, the way your fingers are used on a ball, that's going to happen. Same with a quarterback and the ball. That's why I was, definitely impressed with that, because I would just, we've done this. Just about every player's done this. You tape your finger to the next finger or whatever. But for a quarterback, it's a different ball game because they have a feel for the ball that they need to have. So it's different. But for those that don't know, guys do this all. Guys pop their fingers back in all the times. Or if you're a little squeamish, you get your teammate to pop your finger back in. And if your teammate's a little squeamish, then you got to go let the team doctor or somebody on the sideline pop it back in. But normally somebody pops it back in pretty quickly, so you don't have to miss a play. You try and just do it on the field. It just looks ugly and weird at the time, but it usually pops back in pretty easy. If you take a couple of tugs at it and it doesn't go back in, then I guess you better go let a professional do it. But we all play doctor on the field every now and
then. They pop the finger back in, and then you get the retired guys who have the fingers that are pointing in every direction except the way that they should. That's when they need to be popped back in.
Yeah.
You don't.
That's exactly
you
right.
don't have any of those.
Anthony Munoz. How many times you see his finger? No.
You got out of it without a crazy finger.
I did. I broken the thumbs. I popped some fingers, but yes, I've got nothing sideways like an Anthony Munoz where the fingers pointing sideways. Or you're right, guys' fingers are all gnarled up. But that was just like I said. You just kind of did it because you didn't really think it was much. And for basically every position on the field, it's not. But for a quarterback, it is. It definitely is. So it will. And you're right. That thing will blow up. That's why you just tape it usually to the next finger, and try and so it can't move independently and pop out again. But, if he's not comfortable doing that, throwing the ball, which he wasn't or didn't, had it, the regular way, then but he's going to go through the swelling and have to get the swelling down and go through the pain of and all that. And sounds like he's going to be good to go. But, a pinky finger on a quarterback and any other person on the field is two different pinky fingers.
There aren't a bunch of guys that have that gnarled up finger, but I can I know the list at any given time. Brian Baldinger, Anthony Munoz. Torrey Holt's got one of them too. You wouldn't expect a receiver to have it, but if you're catching those lasers all the time and you're getting jammed up with defensive backs, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to get a finger screwed up, and it's amazing it doesn't happen more often to quarterbacks when you're throwing against oncoming pressure and you're throwing your hand into it. It really is amazing. There aren't more finger, thumb, wrist injuries for quarterbacks, given the forces involved. And when it happens, they do what they have to do to see if they can play with it.
I agree. I mean, listen, Drew Brees right there. We saw what happened to him when his thumb hit and missed 6 weeks. It definitely happens more than we think. It's just maybe you don't get the injury along with it. But I mean, we gotta hold on and ask you, Mike. We've been together now for more than a few weeks, and I've heard of a litany of injuries that you've gone through as a child and as an adult. Have you ever popped a finger?
Well, now your hands, for all the years you played in the NFL, your hands are perfectly normal. I mean, you can tell. See my middle finger on my left hand? That one there? See how? Look at that.
Yes.
I'm the one that's got the jacked up finger. See that? You know what that's from?
What'd you do?
That is from, well, and I'd like to isolate it, but that would get us in trouble. If I would curl the other three down, that would be a problem. That is from pickup basketball and trying to swat at the ball and stoving it, just, when the ball hits it just right. And it happened, I don't know, 50 times over the course of 10 years. And the capsule, a doctor told me one time the capsule broke, and that's the way it's going to be. So imagine that. Your hands are perfect and mine's jacked up, and that's not the way it should be. At least mine isn't pointing that way or that way. I'm glad that's not the case.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Spinning it forward, the Chargers have the Giants at home this weekend, which is good news for them as they try to get to 8-5. The bad news for the Bengals is they try to get to 8-5. The 49ers, in a rematch of Super Bowl 16 and 23, the 49ers at the Bengals, and the 49ers a little more desperate after losing to the Seahawks on Sunday. That all of a sudden, and that's a late afternoon game next week, that all of a sudden is a pretty good game. It's going to be going on the same time as Bills-Bucks. 49ers-Bengals may actually be, I'm not going to say better game, but as compelling and as meaningful and impactful on the playoff seedings as Bills-Buccaneers will be.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.